Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. And for the last compliment that how I'm able to remember so many things. I have a rule, which is that if a man is able to remember his marriage anniversary, he can remember anything. But thank you so much. It is not just a pleasure. It is an honor to be back home. I'm afraid I'm going to be speaking in English because, as I said, my Tamil is as bad as Mr. Reddy. I hope both of us would learn Tamil as fast as possible because it is an amazing language. When my dear friend Sundar Ramanji asked me or invited me to be here, I said it would be a pleasure. But I warned him. I said, I have a problem that I'm always invited only once to any gathering. He said, what do you mean? I said, because of the way I speak and what I speak, I'm always invited once, so you are taking a risk. He said, I don't understand. So I gave him an example. About one and a half years ago, there was a debate, and Kasturiji were talking about the media and the honesty in journalism. So there was a debate in Kolkata, and the topic was media as watchdog. And my turn came, and I said, what are you talking about? Media as watchdog? Media as a lapdog. You guys print whatever your political masters ask you to print. They pay you money, handsome money. Sometimes they ask you to print something, and sometimes they pay you to not print something. And you are running fake narrative all the time and fake propaganda, paid propaganda, and sometimes when you're caught, your apology runs on page 17, bottom right corner, and you're not doing a public good. The worst culprit is the Telegraph newspaper of Kolkata. You are not a watchdog, you're a lapdog. I didn't know the debate was sponsored by Telegraph. I ran from there, and because it was Mamata Didi's territory, people were telling me, sir, you have 15 minutes till your flight. Now, sir, you have 10 minutes till your flight. Finally, I took off. So I told this to Sundarji, and he said, don't worry, please come. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am here amidst you, convinced that I am not going to be called again. So, in the next 30-35 minutes, I want to talk about, I was scheduled to talk about one topic, but I think the present government, and I hope if I am slapped for charges of contempt or something, there are enough lawyers in the audience who would actually help me out, because Sai Deepak isn't here amongst us, so I would have to request you. The actions of the present DMK government are so juvenile and silly that I have decided I will not spend the majority of what I want to say on the topic that I was scheduled to speak on, which was the myth of exceptionalism. So I'll just probably spend about 5-10 minutes explaining the silliness of the present regime, and then switch to something which, although I could not understand a lot of what my good friend Pandeyji was saying, I think it is an important topic about politics and choice of people, choice of leaders, choice of government. This is the election year. So I want to spend as much time as possible interacting with you on this, not just giving you, or preaching to you. So as far as the myth of exceptionalism is concerned, it is so silly that this government goes on, and not just today, has been going on for the last 50, 60 years. It has made its ideology cornerstone of exceptionalism. If only it read a little bit of science, a little bit of history, it would realize that there is no such thing as exceptionalism. And that is the tragedy. But the problem is, its sense of exceptionalism, although it started with who we are Dravidians and you are Aryans and we are different, it has percolated now to every field in which the government is involved in. It has percolated down to our colleges, our universities, the fact who to choose, who to select in competitions, out of competitions, in exam, how to choose officers, and worst, which language to propagate. This is all a result of parochialism, or you can say another word for it is tribalism. And the fact is, it looks so silly and juvenile if you were to look at it objectively through the lens of science and a little bit of history. I will look at it purely through the lens of science because there are historians who've looked at it and reached the same conclusion that exceptionalism only drives a wedge between humanity. It only leads to wars, and we've seen that. The fact of the matter is that as I would say India's greatest scientific endowment to the world was done thousands of years ago. And it wasn't done through the discovery of something or the invention of something or, for example, an experiment that was conducted, yes, or a theory that was promulgated. It was done through a simple phrase. And that phrase was Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is a family. That is the exact opposite of exceptionalism. Thousands of years ago, we came to the conclusion, which has been proven to be genetically, scientifically, absolutely correct, is that in order for humanity or living forms to survive and thrive, you need to look at the entire living system as a family. It is a family. The world is a family. And here we are, just for their ulterior political motives or expediency, we are trying to say that we are different from you. Not just we are different from you who's not Indian, but that we've traditionally been different from you. If only you were to read, for example, the studies that have come out in the last 4 or 5 years, especially on population genetics, you would realize that there is no such thing, of course, as Aryan invasion theory. There is even no such thing as Aryan migration theory. Yes, people mixed around the world. Of course they did. Yes, we are all, I would like to say, at least I am proudly an Ethiopian, the child of Lucy, who was found 3 million years ago. We should take pride in the fact that the world is a family. All humans are the same. And the moment this government or its progenies, ill-advised, try to rupture or bring to fault lines that we are different from others, you are not just rejecting population genetics and science, you're also rejecting one of the basic tenets of science as to how did human beings come to be on this planet. I don't have enough time, as I said, to go into this, but if you were to look at the genesis of human beings, going back to the cell, the birth of the living cell, going back even further to the primordial soup from which basic building blocks of life form as we know today, amino acids, nucleic acids were built from, you would realize that we are not just all the same, but even genomic sequencing, as said, has told us that our DNA is not just similar, it is identical 99.4% to a chimpanzee's DNA. 99.4% identical. Our housekeeping genes, that are the major genes that give rise to proteins that make our cells work, are 100% identical to bacterial housekeeping genes. Ribosomes, RNA polymerase, DNA polymerase, everything is exactly the same. What does that tell you? That we are somehow different? Absolutely not. So these two tenets of science not just reject the Dravidian theory of exceptionalism, they reject, they throw it, they scrunch it up and they throw it in the bin. Now that I'm finished with this, I just want to harp a little bit about the other damaging aspect of exceptionalism that has percolated down, that is which language to speak. Now this is again, this is so damning as far as scientifically speaking that it is embarrassing to even mention this. Languages do not matter. What matters is what you are conveying through them. And even if you are conveying something not through a language, even that matters. Just imagine if all of us could not speak. Do you think we would stop communicating? What does it matter if I am speaking in English or somebody speaking in Tamil or in Hindi or C++? What matters is ultimately what is conveyed. Protect that, what is conveyed, rather than protect the manner in which it is conveyed, i.e. the language. And just like species, did you know that every year hundreds of languages go extinct? Languages evolve. The words of Urdu are 80 to 90% Sanskrit. Similarly, so many words from English have been taken in, have been adopted. So many words from Hindi, from Sanskrit, Tamil, Malayalam. Every language is evolving constantly. It is mirroring Darwinian evolution. And if a language is not used, the language dies, like a life form, like dodo. But is it to be cried over? Perhaps. But it is to be cried over majorly if what was said in that language has gone extinct. That is the tragedy, more than the language going extinct. So I hope people in the audience would possibly convey to the ruling dispensation out here how juvenile it is to talk about exceptionalism. Now let me come to the other topic which I believe is most pertinent, looking forward to the elections that are happening out here. For that, I would like this to be as interactive as possible. I would like to have a show of hands as to how many of you want the next 5 years in Tamil Nadu to be governed by DMK. Please raise your hands. Not a single hand has gone up. Okay, one hand has gone up. One hand went up and then came down. All right. So I would say 95% of you do not want DMK in Tamil Nadu for the next 5 years. Fair enough? How many of you want the next 5 years an NDA government? Right, so 95%, maybe more, of you want an NDA, BJP and all its allies once BJP finalizes who its allies are going to be, but NDA government for the next 5 years, fair enough. Now, is the tricky question. You don't want DMK government for the next 5 years, you want the BJP, let's call it BJP government. Have you firmed up your mind as to why? Why do you not want the DMK government? And trust me, it might not look like so, but this is completely apolitical. From here till the next 20 minutes, this is not about the current politics. It is more about the philosophy of politics, and that is why I believe this interaction is absolutely crucial. So all 95% of you, overwhelming majority of you, said you want the BJP government. You don't want the DMK government. Can I ask a couple of you, why do you believe you don't want the DMK government? Anyone, sir? If you could kindly stand up. One at a time, sir. Yes, you don't want the DMK government. Why? Dynastic rule, all right. Okay. Corruption, yes. Dynastic, corruption. Any other reason? Sorry, one at a time, sis. Law and order, law and order. I wish I could write it down because I want to go through each one of those. Let me see if I remember it right. Okay, so dynasty, corruption, law and order, anti-Hindu, right. All of the above, you say, that's wonderful. Okay, thank you. So now you need to indulge in me because this is going to get really fun and interactive. You mentioned 4 or 5 topics. Oh, that's wonderful. I think I remember those 4. Yeah, thank you. And I'll add 2 as to why you don't want a DMK government. In all the reasons that you have given now, or you may give, I put to you that any other government would be exactly the same as DMK government. It's an open challenge, and I'm going to prove it to you. When you talk of dynasty, when you talk of corruption, when you talk of law and order, when you talk of anti-Hindu, 4 things I remembered, I'm going to throw in, let us say, welfareism, and I'm going to throw in economy, and I'm going to throw in creation of jobs. In all these issues, the barometer of changing a government that you've mentioned does not exist, because the NDA is coming out with exactly the same policies or going to work exactly as DMK is going to work. You may feel, oh my God, that is impossible. How can that be? But I'm going to prove it to you. And that is why it is very important for us as citizens, for you as BJP supporters, for you as people who want India to prosper, to realize if you want change, you have to offer something different. If you do not offer anything different, then you are going by the whims and fancies of the voter. You are going by maybe whatever the voter feels on that day, he's going to vote. I hope and pray he's going to vote for BJP. But if you have clarity in your mind that I, as BJP, am going to offer something dramatically different from what DMK is offering, then you have the confidence to approach the voter and say, this is what I'm offering. Vote for me. And right now, let me go through each of those one by one. And I'll tell you how important this interaction is. And I have not thought of this more than an hour ago. But I feel it is very important. So I apologize if I end up offending people out here. That is not the intention. We are all one family. That is why Sundarji has invited me. So whatever happens in the family stays in the family. And this is the reason why I'm saying this. I might be critical, but it's not just I don't mind not being called again. But the fact of the matter is I'm here to learn. And if you are able to change my view, I would thank you for it. Let's go by dynasty. Yes, you mentioned DMK is a dynasty. That is why I want the government to change. Did you know that right now there are 53 BJP MPs who are first generation dynasts? Did you know that there are 132 BJP MLAs who are first and second generation dynasts? How many should I name? Do you know there are 7 chief ministers who are dynasts? How is DMK different? There are dynasts that belong to the BJP family that are not even in politics, that are in sports. How is that different? Imagine I am a Tamil Nadu voter and you come to me and said, the government that is currently ruling is dynastic. Vote for BJP. He'll say, why? Are you telling you're not dynastic? What will you say? So that's point number 1. Point number 2 was corruption. Absolutely right point to have made. This government, by all accounts, is a corrupt government. There are corruption scams going on. There is water scam, which is of 1,200 crores. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Almost every scheme, or almost this is what the BJP says, this is what other politicians are also saying. Almost everything conducted out here in the state of Tamil Nadu has a tinge of corruption. So you go to a voter and you say, well, yeah, I'm fed up of corruption. Yes, do you want BJP? You say, well, what do you have to offer? Something different? What will you say? Will you say that I, as a party, was convicted by the High Court for taking money illegally from a mining company, and that carried a conviction, not just castigation by the High Court, conviction, violating the FCRA guidelines, and I, as a party, overnight went to the parliament and I retrospectively amended the FCRA Act, rendering the FCRA regulation that High Court worked on toothless. Would you say that is corruption? You retrospectively amended the Act. So the High Court said, Well, I convicted you as a party using that law, and you've changed that law. Do you think that is not corruption? You will vote for BJP. Why? Because on one day, when our Prime Minister says, here is a man who has indulged in 70,000 crore scam. He belongs to a party which is NCP, which is National Corruption Party. And the next day, that man is taken, inducted into your party. Would you call that corruption or would you not? I'm putting this out because as voters, we need to understand that unless we change our thinking, our parties won't change their thinking. And this is not just a party problem. This is now an endemic problem. This is an epidemic. Let me give you another example. There was a minister in the Congress government in Karnataka who had 15 forest crime charges. Unfortunately, he bore my name. He was also called Anand. But trust me, I don't have any criminal charges against me. And those charges were very, very severe. They were for illegal logging. They were for poaching, encroaching forest land, 15. The BJP opposition at that point of time sat on a dharna outside Vidhan Saudha saying, arrest this man, Anand. Anand Singh his name was. What did Anand Singh do? He left Congress and he joined the BJP. And what did BJP do? The BJP made him the forest minister. So the voter will ask, you were saying you don't want to choose DMK because DMK is corrupt. Is this what you did? What will you say? So I've tackled two topics out here. Let me come to the third, which is law and order. Here I do agree that law and order will always be an issue. But one thing we have to be very careful as citizens. Do we go by one or two instances or three instances as horrifying and terrible as they are? Or do we go by data? Now, any sensible person, a voter, will go by data. And the problem there is that when it comes to law and order, Tamil Nadu is one of the best performing states. In terms of crime against women, it is ranked one of the lowest. In terms of charge sheeting the crime, it is one of the highest. In all the parameters, and this is government data, central government data, NCRB data, that shows that Tamil Nadu is not a poor performing state when it comes to law and order. Yes, there are instances, and of course people must shout out. There was one where Annamalai actually held a protest legitimately. But the fact of the matter is, are you saying that the law and order in Tamil Nadu is so dire that we need to change the government? You may say that. But the other person will ask you, how are you going to improve it? And there you have to answer, what is it that you are going to offer differently? So tell me, how are you going to improve the law and order situation in Tamil Nadu from what it already is? And that is the problem. There have been zero judicial reforms in the last 11 years. There have been zero police reforms in the last 10 years. You have the cases of corruption that is percolating in law and order. Are you going to tell the voter, choose me, but I'm not going to do anything different, I have nothing to offer? That is the third point. The fourth point, I do agree that it has an emotional tug to it, which is anti-Hindu. Absolutely right. And I say it openly. DMK government is anti-Hindu government. I don't know if I might be picked up right now, but it is a fact. And it's not just me saying it, they admit to it. Don't just go by what Udaynidhi Stalin said. I want to eradicate Sanatan Dharma. And then he tried to qualify that statement by saying, oh, I was only talking of oppression and casteism that exists in Sanatan Dharma. Well, there is oppression and casteism in Islam as well. Would he dare say, I want to eradicate Islam? Let's see what will happen then. So obviously they are anti-Hindu. They are proud of it. If you look at Raja's statements, they are much worse than what Udaynidhi Stalin said, if at all a comparison can be made. And the fact of the matter is, we've seen the recent Deepathun controversy, how blatantly anti-Hindu DMK government is. Now you go to a voter and say, don't vote for DMK. Look, brother, is anti-Hindu. Absolutely right. He's going to turn around and say, give me one example where BJP is pro-Hindu. One example. And I challenge you right now. I'm saying it with facts. There is not one example in the last 11 years where the BJP has shown itself as pro-Hindu. Pro-Indian, yes, and I've supported BJP. Article 370 promulgation, abrogation, CAA promulgation. These are great acts. And thanks to Narendra Modi ji that he's done it. But they are pro-Indian. They're not pro-Hindu. This government still continues with the policies that were promulgated by anti-Hindu Congress government. Those policies still exist. And they are not just openly abusive policies that, or comments that you can ignore that don't affect you or your way of life or your well-being. Like Udayanidhi Stalin said something which was deeply abusive and it didn't affect us in terms of our way of life. We felt awful that he said it. But the BJP is continuing with anti-Hindu policies that are not just affecting Hindus, they are going to destroy Hinduism. Who is controlling Hindu temples? Is the BJP saying right now that we will stop controlling Hindu temples? 110,000 Hindu temples are being controlled right now. Why aren't mosques being controlled? If you call this a secular state, why aren't you controlling mosques? Why aren't you controlling churches? Why aren't you controlling gurdwaras? Why are you leeching billions only from Hindu temples, not just from their donation boxes and promulgation of acts whereby you mandate them to give you money legally? Tirupati temple is mandated to give hundreds of crores to the government of Andhra Pradesh legally. Recently, they wanted to make a 450 crore flyover. They demanded Tirupati give them money for it. Did they have the guts to ask a mosque for that? No. So who is anti-Hindu? When you continue with the acts that are destroying Hinduism, where lakhs of acres of temple land is being rented off by the government. T.R. Ramesh, he could be arrested any moment. Wonderful friend and activist who is doing brave work. He says from all the land that the government of Tamil Nadu has rented out, you should get 6,000 crores per year from it. How much does the government get? 58 crores. Not even 1%. BJP government is controlling more Hindu temples than even the Congress government before it. Is that not anti-Hindu? Let me come to another fact. Did you know that over the last 10 years, tens of thousands of only Hindu-run schools have been closed down? You know why? Because RTE, the Right to Education Act, in itself a very noble concept, was done in conjunction with the 93rd Amendment. And that puts the onus of reserving 25% of your school seats for the poor section, EWS, only on Hindu-run schools, not on Muslim-run schools or Christian-run schools. How is that not discrimination? Has the BJP removed that? No, it hasn't. What kind of schools are being shut down? Not Muslim-run schools, not Christian-run schools, only Hindu-run schools. So I ask you, would you prefer that this discrimination is lifted, or that what Udayanidhi Stalin says, he goes to jail any day because this is affecting me? The Hindu parents who were sending their kid to the Hindu-run school that is now shut down because it cannot afford to give 25% of its seats to poor section, will now be obligated to send him to a Muslim or a Christian-run school, and it is their religious obligation, either subtly or in your face, to proselytize, to convert. 20 years later, you would be the one crying, oh my God, all the Hindus have converted. But it is because of that rule that still continues. Right now, when you talk about DMK is anti-Hindu, I've already counted 2 acts. And here is the third one, and I have 5 or 6. I've written a book on it. Here is the third one. Hindus cannot even go to the court to demand to reclaim their demolished temples. Some say 40,000 of them. How is this possible in a democracy? Yes, the judge may give a verdict that no, this temple cannot be reclaimed, but at least I should be able to knock on the justice doors. Hindus can't even do that. Has the BJP removed the Places of Worship Act? No, it hasn't. Let me come to the fourth. Yes, Some action has been done as far as the Waqf Act is concerned. There is amendment to it, but it is like chopping an arm of the Hydra. It's going to come back even more virulently. And a more draconian of the claims of the Waqf Act still exist. The state has to pay taxpayers' money in order to get the Waqf survey done. How is that not discrimination? How is that not the violation of a secular code? In the last 10 years, 20 lakh acres of land has been taken over or claimed by Waqf. This is what is happening right now. And you are saying all these acts are continuing, or their variations of it, and yet only DMK is anti-Hindu, BJP is not. So that's the fourth one demolished. The fifth and sixth I am going to add. You may say that, well, the economy is not doing well. Bring in the BJP government so that we will give you more jobs. The economy would be better. Well, the fact of the matter is that and these are Niti Aayog numbers. That is why what I'm saying might be hurtful, but somebody has to say it. I'm drinking the poison for you. Not Mr. Reddy. Bless him. The fact of the matter is Tamil Nadu is the best performing state as well as the economy is concerned. 72% increase in GSDP per capita in the last 5 years, unprecedented. It is number one in terms of giving employment as far as manufacturing is concerned. It is number one in terms of industries that have been set up in India. 1/5 of the entire India's GDP of manufacturing comes from Tamil Nadu. In the last 5 years, 1.5 million jobs have been given in Tamil Nadu. Is it bad? I can say I will do better. You know why? Only when I say I am going to bring in reforms where what DMK has delivered, I would deliver 4 times that. That is the way to change a person's mind. Not to say I would just bring me in and see the change. No. The voter will ask, you have the same policies that the DMK is using. How the hell are you going to increase this exponentially? And then what will BJP say? That in the last 10 years, there's been hardly any reform. Yes, we've opened up our markets, but the situation is so dire now that we have opened our markets to the world and world markets to us. If we do not compete, if we are not made competitive, how the hell are we going to increase our economic output? Did you know right now there are 69,000 compliances and MSME that hires on average of 150 people. Many of you might be owners of companies. Pays on average 18 lakhs rupees per year in just filing compliances. 7,000 compliances are filed every year. Almost one every working hour of every working day. Is this how you're going to ease what you talk about doing business? 21% of our annual allocation of budget, which is 9.5 lakh crores, goes up in propping up 6 public sector units. There are 1,830 public sector units. 400 of them are non-functional. They are not producing anything. Yet they are leeching tens of thousands of my money. And what did the Prime Minister say in 2013? That I loved when he said it. A government has no business to be in business. And he repeats it every time. But unfortunately, all what his government has done is to be in the business of doing businesses. Why is the government making mixer grinders, scooters? Why is the government running 500 hotels? All of them are loss-making. The only time they make money is when they have to ferry politicians to hide them so that other party doesn't steal them. That is their revenue generation model. So what will you tell? I will increase the economic output. By what? Yes, there have been some labor reforms, but rightly so, they are from the point of view of the employee, not from the point of view of the employer. And that is the problem. Yes, there should be reform as far as employees are concerned. They have their rights. But what about the rights of the people who are employing them? Where is that? And there the BJP government is not right-wing at all. It is at best left or extreme left. That is the situation. There has been, other than Air India or 1 or 2 things, not a single privatization in the last 11 years. There has been disinvestment. But look at the sleight of hand. what is disinvested from one PSU, some other PSU is forced to buy. LIC must be thinking, yaar, why is it always me who's carrying the burden? You want to disinvest Coal India, you ask me to force me to buy this. The fact of the matter is you cannot go on like this. You need to generate money. You need to give up your state control. The state needs to take a step back, and that is not happening. Why is the government running banks? There is a cumulative 12.5 lakh crores of NPAs that have accumulated over the last 10 years. Yes, the government has a sleight of hand. Instead of waving them off, it has written them off, so your books look good. But out of the 12.5 written off, only 1.5 lakhs have been recovered. Where are the rest 10 lakhs? That's our 10 lakh crores, that's our money. And why is the government running banks? Why is the government running telephony companies, MTNL? Every 2 years, it has a capital infusion of 3 lakh crores. Are you going to tell this to the voter? Look at my grand plan. Nothing is going to change as far as reforms are concerned, but I will increase the economic output by 4 times. What will the voter tell you? And then finally on something which is most damaging, where the BJP is not just, it's got nothing different to offer, it is offering the exact same. Now I need to explain this a bit more further. I am all for a welfare state, of course I am. If India was not a welfare state, we would have wiped out tens, possibly hundreds of millions of people. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants an island of prosperity in an ocean of despair. Nobody amongst us from our socio-economic strata wants our GDP per capita to be $50,000 of a gated community, while the rest of India wallows in GDP per capita of $2,500. No. Welfare saves lives. If Modi had not built 120 million toilets, did you know that every new toilet built has saved that households upwards of 50,000 rupees in health costs? If Modi had not provided 110 million tap water connections, did you know that the diarrheal deaths under 5 have been slashed by half? If Modi had not provided 380 million Ayushman cards, did you know that the fastest descent into poverty of an Indian was out-of-pocket expenditure? And right now that has been slashed by 27%. Did you know if Modi had not provided 100 million gas connections? Did you know that the biggest cause for infant mortality in India was not some disease, but household pollution? When the mother used to blow that thing into the chula through the pipe. 150,000 lives are being directly saved through those Ujjwala scheme. Welfare is saving lives. And I would say India's greatest achievement since independence, to have vaccinated 1 billion people twice over within 1 year. So I am for welfare. But then somebody has to realize that there is a line between welfarism and freebism. Unless we draw that line, I'm afraid this government, this country is looking down an abyss from where there is no escape. Can I take 2 more minutes, please? And 30 seconds extra. Who is going to draw that line? The politician will never draw that line, because for a politician, every freebie is welfarism. We as citizens have to draw that line. And right now we are not drawing it. Just today, this government has sanctioned, I don't know whether it's delivered, 5,000 rupees to every woman. BJP did the same in Bihar, 10,000 rupees as a one-off. You know, BJP was rightly mocking Rahul Gandhi's khatakat scheme of giving 1 lakh to every woman. Rightly. BJP said you're going to bankrupt the country. But then came Maharashtra election. And the BJP not just promised that, it delivered 1,500 rupees per month to every eligible Maharashtrian woman aged 21 to 60, costing the exchequer 51,000 crores every year. BJP won. Rahul Gandhi said MSP should be guaranteed for every crop. BJP rightly mocked it, said, are you mad? We are going to lose 16 to 20 lakh crores every year. We will go bankrupt. Then came Haryana election. And BJP promised exactly that to every Haryana farmer. And what happened? BJP won. And right now in Tamil Nadu, even though the debt to GDP ratio looks good, in the last 5 years, the debt has quadrupled. It's almost 9.8 lakh crores. America doesn't mind. Its debt is $38 trillion. It might be $50 trillion. Who cares? They will print more money. For us, there is no such thing as a free lunch. Somebody has to care for it. And what will BJP say? That it is not going to offer free saris, free mixer grinders, free 3,000 rupees, free 10,000 rupees? If it says that, vote for BJP. But does it have the guts to say that? No. Even the NDA allies is going for, you know what? MSP guarantee. Read up one of their promises. It's going to bankrupt not the state, the entire country. And when BJP says, in one aspect I do agree, where change should come in, it is that for the first time in decades or many years, Tamil Nadu has seen negative agricultural growth. The agricultural situation in Tamil Nadu is dire. Just the right time for BJP to come and say, vote for us. I agree. But then what has BJP to offer? The farmer will ask, what is it that you will do differently? Is the BJP prepared to bring in the 3 farm laws that were amazing, that would have catapulted us to a middle-income economy in 10 years, that would have doubled, tripled the incomes of the farmers in the state because agriculture is a conquering subject? Does the BJP has this policy? No. It could have. What is the harm? If it could not bring it in the center, let it bring in the state. The point I'm trying to make is that, ladies and gentlemen, when you go out to your voter and you ask him to not vote DMK, vote for BJP, the clarity should not be in the voter's mind. The clarity should be in your mind. What is it that you are offering differently? And right now, I'm afraid BJP is not offering anything differently. I shall end there. And I always begin by saying that I would never be called back again, but I ask you, would I be called again? Definitely. Thank you so much.